Sega. Hello YouTube, Danes83 back here with Havin A Blast video, third in the instalment. I'm trying to do a bit of a theme to start off with doing games with numbers in the titles. Obviously number 2 was Devil May Cry 2 and I couldn't decide on this one between which 3 to do. So obviously I've gone for Sonic, as you can see in this video, the third instalment of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. And I've gone for the third Mario, Super Mario Bros. 3, later on in the video. It's an odd comparison between the two because I believe there was a full 3 years between the releases, so it wouldn't be fair to compare them, and they're on completely different hardware, you know. One's 8-bit, one's 16-bit. It's just a look at those two games really, which are arguably the best in each's franchise, if you know what I mean. They'd perfected what they wanted to do with that sort of game, that sort of platforming game by then. So, as you can see at the moment, I'm currently playing Sonic the Hedgehog number 3. This is the first instalment that involved Knuckles, which you just saw taking the Chaos Emeralds. If you ever completed Sonic 2, you saw at the end, like a spaceship sort of thing crashing in the background. And obviously that's where Knuckles came from. I'm just looking through Wikipedia to get you some stats on the game. It was released in the UK on the 27th of May 1994, which is actually only 4 days ago, really, in times. Sorry, now I've just read the Japanese date. It was released on the 24th of February in the UK. For some reason Wikipedia have got them in different orders for each one. Obviously I'm playing as Sonic the Hedgehog with Tails coming along. The enemies in this game are Dr. Robotnik, and it's the first time you see Knuckles. Obviously it was on the Sega Mega Drive, Genesis, obviously for the Americans and the Japanese. It was later re-released on... It was on all the compilations that came out on the PlayStations and the Xboxes and the GameCube Sonic Mega Collection, so it got remastered in them, but I'm originally playing it now on its original hardware, which is the Mega Drive. A little fact about this, that Michael Jackson was originally meant to be involved with the music for Sonic 3, and there are rumours that he did actually get involved but didn't want to be credited, because we all know what was going on in his life in that time and period. I think Sega didn't... I think none of them wanted to get involved in any of that sort of thing, if you know what I mean. So that was that. I'll give my own personal opinion on it now. Oh, the game sold 1.02 million copies in the United States alone. I'm trying to look for the stat where it tells you worldwide. 21 million copies worldwide. I know Mario beats that, because I think Mario's one of the top selling games. Mario 3 is one of the top selling games of all time. So I'm going to flick back and actually watch my footage, because I was looking at Wikipedia then. I've just completed the first stage. These are all my first runs at the game, each individual game. You're actually getting to look at it a lot better than what I did, because I play it on my 32-inch LC TV. And I've played the other Sonic games on it, and I must admit, I don't know if it's the colour scheme, especially in this part, that made it quite hard viewing, if you know what I mean. Not so much this, where you got the colours clearly defined, that last bit there where the fire had broke out in the level. I'm no good at this. You'll watch me do this. I mean, I've not played this game a whole lot. I don't think I had it when I was younger. I definitely had Sonic 1 and 2. I think I may have... See, because originally I started out playing Master System, as you all know, I mentioned in other videos, when it comes to consoles anyway, having moved on from the home computers. Then me and my brother, I think we both have definitely had a Master System 2, and I think he had a Mega Drive, and I may have had a Mega Drive for a bit, but he used to do my head in. We used to fall out a lot. He used to tell me I couldn't play other games unless I'd completed the game I was playing and stuff like that. So in the end, I got a Super Nintendo. So I've got no loyalties to either franchise really. I'm not so much a Sega fanboy or a Nintendo fanboy. I'm just a general, I like playing video games fanboy. And in all fairness, I don't think I played this game. back then. I've obviously played it since I've started collecting again. Pardon me. And it's a good game, I enjoy it. I only go through the first stage of this, and I'll go to the first boss fight that I can get to in Mario as well, to make it a fair comparison. Although there does seem a lot of difference in times, but as I say, they're on different hardware, different generations of hardware, and games have obviously advanced that much more in the 3 years between the release. So you can't compare them there. So don't think because I'm not showing longer than Mario that I favour Mario over Sonic. Although if you'd have asked me that back in my playground days, I'm afraid to say there'd have only been one winner, it'd have been Sonic, because I didn't get involved in playing a Mario game till I got... Well, that's a bit of a lie, because I had a Game & Watch, a Super Mario Game & Watch, which I mentioned in my last video. But that doesn't give you the same experience as playing a platforming game. But Sonic on the Master System and on my brother's Mega Drive was always, when we was having the arguments in the playground, Sonic was always the favourite. But that wasn't just amongst me, that seemed to be amongst everyone, because Sega were doing a lot better job in Europe than Nintendo were at the time. Obviously that played out more evenly as the Super Nintendo came out, and obviously we all know where it ended up eventually. But I never had much loyalty to either, really. But if you'd have asked me as a kid who was better, I'd have gone, oh, Sonic the Hedgehog. Whereas now, although they're compared as characters side by side, they're two totally different gaming experiences. I mean, Sonic's a much more faster paced game, whereas Mario is more a precise, I don't know, set route sort of thing. I mean, I know they're both set routes, but there is more than one in the Sonic games you can go. And I suppose there's in Mario's when you can get down the tunnels and that. But, oh, a weird bit happens in a minute. I'm sure, yeah, Tails gets in my way and I end up going back. That, I've never seen that happen before. I don't know what he was doing. And I'm not going to slate him because I know how this ends, because I think, oh, Tails on this game is just completely useless. All he ends up doing is getting hit and getting in your way. But I'm not going to spoil it, and I'm not going to say that either and claim that as a fact, because your Sonic's usual unhelpful sidekick becomes quite helpful later in the game, which you'll see. But as I said before, yes, Sonic as a kid on the Master System, I completed it on the Master System. I mean, when I'm talking a kid, I'm talking probably, I was easily under 10, easily, when I was playing it on the Master System. So, you know, my attention span of completing the games was very limited. Not that it's got much better now as an adult, to be fair, but I used to just like getting stuck in and having a few goes, and Sonic was one of my go-to games, as was Psycho Fox on the Master System. But I remember when my brother had moved on to PlayStation, we both got a PlayStation at the same time, I went back and bought a Mega Drive. I'm pretty sure I did, because this is where I'm talking about with Tails. He more or less beats the boss for me on his own there because he got stuck. Because locally there was a market stall in the local shopping centre that's long gone now. It's all been converted, there's no market there, but there was a game stall on there and you could get games next to nothing. I wish it was still going now, same price, it'd been great. But as someone who was at school and the money I used to earn was paper round money, I went back and started playing games on the Mega Drive just because I could afford more in volume to play then. So here you see Knuckles appear again at the end here, and he'll jump on that thing or press that thing. He jumps on it and they drop down to the next level, which I don't record. I move with a clever bit of editing there straight into Super Mario Bros. 3. Now I'm playing this on the N.E.S, but my first ever time of playing it was on the Super Nintendo on Super Mario All-Stars, which is when I started playing Mario games, as I say, other than that Game & Watch I had back in the day. And I think Mario 3 by far, although Mario 1 is a classic, Mario 2 is a completely different game. I think they'd perfected it by the time they got to Mario 3 here, and I do really enjoy this game. In fact, I'll go as far as to say I'm pretty sure I've got the Game Boy Advance edition, so I can play that on the go. As you can see, totally different game to Sonic, and that's why I didn't compare them. I'm not comparing them, I couldn't decide which one to do out of the two franchises, so I thought, why not do a double header and do them both. So this game was released in the PAL region. This is why I got confused, because I know the date for Mario's at the bottom down here. It's August 29th, 1991 this was released. So say you're talking, what, 2.5 years off the top of my head between them, and obviously the Super Nintendo would come out between them. As I say, it was released much earlier in North America, and Japan, you're talking the best part of 3 years before this we were like getting it. It sold 17 million copies worldwide, so that's probably less than Sonic 3. I think I said it was 21, so that was something I got completely wrong. And basically this game is the only game that's ever been released to have a full 90-minute advert for it. Basically, if you've ever seen the film Wizard, I believe the kid out of the Wonder Years was in it. I remember watching it on VHS. I had it on VHS, where he enters the... He doesn't enter it, some little boy enters it, and it's like a competition nationwide in America, and you have to play 3 levels. I think there's Rad Racer. Can't think what the third one is. The second one is, sorry, and the third one is the first level of this game. And basically that film was just a complete advert for this coming game. I think the bad guys are slightly different to this, although it is Koopa, King Koopa or Bowser, whatever you want to call him. I call him King Koopa. I think that might originate from the cartoons. The Koopa Kids or the Kooplings, they are the baddies on the end of each level in this one. You've obviously got the map design to work between each level. It's alright, I'm just clicking around on my PC straight in front of me just to get some stats, sorry. This is another game that's ported obviously to the Game Boy Advance. There's definitely edition, and obviously in the newer Mario makers it features heavily. I'm not too sure, someone can answer this in the comments. Did they change the graphics for the Super Nintendo? Because I've not got a copy of Super Mario All-Stars currently for my Super Nintendo. And I want to say I feel the graphics may have been better. Maybe the colours they changed or something, or the figure characters. I might be completely wrong, they might have just truly ported it. But something seems slightly different to this. I mean, I have played a lot of this recently, because when I started collecting again, it was one of the first titles I wanted to get in my collection. As I say, it was definitely on the Game Boy Advance. I think is the only system it got moved to. Obviously, it's got the iconic features of the ability to fly, which I don't believe has left the Mario series since, with the raccoon tail and ears. Sorry about all the I'm just rambling on through this. But yeah, it's an iconic game. They're both iconic games. Sonic and Mario for a long time were the two competitors. And unfortunately now, I mean, I know Mario's still going strong in the Nintendo franchise. No one's really got a figurehead going head-to-head like that. And with Sega going the way they did, I always think it's bad when you kill your competition off, really. Although Sega was very much in their own hands for their own downfall, it's bad for us as gamers when they killed the competition. I'll do a bit of editing here actually, because I have a nightmare when I go to the castle, so you'll see my numbers and lives change, but it actually gave me a chance to get used to editing out footage of me constantly making schoolboy errors and dying. Although you might have wanted to watch that, I wanted to edit them. But yeah, I mean, I don't really class Sony PlayStation and Microsoft Xbox as the same sort of thing as Nintendo. Nintendo are basically games and consoles. Although everyone classes them as kiddie consoles still, they're what they're meant to be. They're meant to not be greatly realistic. They're meant to be pick up and play fun, which I think they've kept with the Wii and the Wii U. And it actually makes me want to pick up a Wii U over a PS4 and an Xbox One at the moment. And I think if Sega had stuck around, maybe you'd have seen them two going more head-to-head, and PlayStation and Xbox going head-to-head sort of thing. There was my bit of editing, not the best, but just to change it so you can see it thing. But yeah, that's the way I feel. I feel as much as Nintendo will always be around in gaming, I don't feel the same about Sony and Microsoft, to be honest. And it's a shame when the first time you ever plugged in a Nintendo system or an Xbox system or a Sony system and you saw the blue hedgehog on it, Sonic, there was something sad about that, knowing he wasn't going to be exclusive to Sega anymore. But heaven forbid that would ever happen with Mario. I think the gaming world would just implode. So, as I say, both iconic characters. I mean, I don't know why I bothered picking up that feather there to make that stupid mistake. And as I say, a large part of my childhood was playing these sort of games, platforming games. It's probably why I've gone back to it. Because, well, I lost, what did I lose? 2 lives on these. I mean, these are simple games, like there was simple mistakes. But they seem to be more unforgiving to you making mistakes, whereas modern games now seem to help you out more. You know, there's a bit more give in what you do. And I think they're easier to play, I really do, than your older games where it's more about your skill, your sight, and you pressing the buttons. So anyway, I'm coming towards the end of this video now because I kill him off quite easily. 3 hits and he's dead. Hopefully my next video will have a number 4 in. If anyone's got any suggestions, please put them in the comments. And as always, if you like my content, like, comment and subscribe, and I'll try and get back to you. Speak to you all soon. Bye.